Dear friends, welcome to Book Talk. Our title for today is Ice Station Zebra by Alistair Maclean. Alistair Maclean is a magnificent writer, and Ice Station Zebra was a thriller written by him in 1963. He is of Scottish origin, and after writing this particular novel, he went into a self-declared retirement for about 3 years. But with this particular book, he had returned to his Arctic settings, and the book is of the times when this Cold War was very much alive between the US and the USSR. So it is a novel of those times, extremely interesting, and I shall take you immediately through the plot. So Drift Ice Station Zebra is a British meteorological station built on an ice floe somewhere in Arctic Sea. It suffers a catastrophic fire, and with that, several of its people stationed there die, and their shelter and their supplies are all destroyed, and the survivors are closeted in a small hut. They are all closeted and with very little food and warmth. So then what happens is this fictional American nuclear powered submarine by the name of USS Dolphin is commissioned to go to this particular station, Ice Station Zebra, and rescue the people out there and extinguish the fire. So with this objective, the novel starts. But before this submarine leaves, there is one Dr. Carpenter. He walks into the submarine and says that he too is going on the mission. Now the commander out there, Commander Swanson, is not aware of this Carpenter, Dr. Carpenter, who suddenly walks in, and he says he's very suspicious about this particular person, and he asks that what are you going there for? And then he says, well, I'm a frostbite expert and I know other things with respect to cold conditions when it affects the body. So I'm an expert in all of that, and I have the permission of Chief of Naval Operations of the United States Navy, so you have to take me. But Swanson is not very convinced. He therefore calls his superior, Admiral Garvey. Now Admiral Garvey comes and meets Dr. Carpenter, but he too is also not very convinced about this particular doctor by the name of Carpenter. Now under duress, because Carpenter is now, he doesn't know what to do, so he's under a tremendous amount of duress because he needs to go there in the mission. So he confides and reveals some of his plans and says that this particular Ice Station Zebra is actually a highly equipped listening post. It's a highly equipped listening post that keeps a complete watch on the nuclear missile activities of the USSR, or you could say the Soviet Union. Now this particular statement convinces Admiral Garvey and the commander, so they let him come along. And once dolphin starts, it soon reaches the Arctic ice pack. Now, we need to understand that Arctic is covered with the complete ice. So it reaches the ice pack, and then it dives below. And once it goes under the sea, it surfaces after a distance. And when it surfaces after a distance, it makes a kind of a tenuous radio contact with this particular station called the ice station Zebra, and then the connection again goes off. It's a very faint kind of a connection that they are getting, and it initially came through also through a trawler, and so they are not able to figure out. Then again the submarine takes a dive and goes inside, and then they find that there is no particular there's no water where they can again surface, and so like that they keep gallivanting here and there, and they are not able to find out anything. But suddenly they come to a spot from where they can make out that the station is just about some 5 miles away, and and then they break through a crack in the ice above, and then they come up. So when they break the crack in the ice and come up, they surface the water, and from there Dr. Carpenter, along with the chief officer of the submarine, his name is Hansen, and 2 other people of the team, they leave for this particular Arctic station. Now, what happens? By 2 other people, I mean the crewmen. So in total, Dr. Carpenter, the executive officer Hansen, and 2 of the crewmen, they come out and they start their trek up to the station. Now, as the book describes it, it is one of the most impossible treks that have ever taken place. It is near impossible. It has a total storm brewing, and these people are walking around. In the book it has been picturized extremely well by Alistair Maclean. So anyway, these people, they start their walk, and after a lot of labor, they reach there, and only to find that some 8 of them are dead, and 11 of them are almost nearing their death, and 1 guy has been shot, and in totality Dr. Carpenter finds out that 3 of the dead, out of 8 who are dead, 3 have been murdered. So the situation is extremely bad, and Dr. Carpenter's hunch is coming through. He expected that there is some enemy movement, some spy movement in this, and out of the people stationed there were some spies of the Soviet Union, and the commander of this particular station, this ice station Zebra, happens to be Dr. Carpenter's brother. So that is not all. Even the radio has been damaged, and so they are unable to communicate with the world, so they are cut off. So after gauging the situation, Dr. Carpenter and Hansen returned to the submarine, the Dolphin, and then they apprise Swanson about the situation there, and with that the submarine moves towards the station, but they don't find any open water. Now they are unable to reach the station, so they blow the ice pack with a torpedo. and this particular scene has been described in a very, very detailed manner, and at times you feel that Alistair Maclean has done a total research. He must have spent years researching all these terms and techniques and the way things move. It is just par excellence. And once this submarine reaches there, the sick men are taken care of and they are shifted to Dolphin. Carpenter does investigation at his own level and finds that the fire was no accident, but it was a deliberate attempt. And and out of 3 of the guys who were murdered, 1 was his brother. So his brother did not die a death naturally, but he was murdered by somebody who belonged to the army camp. And all the supplies had been hidden in one particular hut down below. The station had huts in a length. They had some 4 huts, and then they had another 4 huts. So these huts were in a line. And Swanson finds finds a gun hidden somewhere in the petrol tank. Now, the surviving members of the Zebra are brought to board the Dolphin. So, with great difficulty, they are brought in and they are positioned in the submarine. With great difficulty, they go from the surface of the earth, from the land. They come down and they get into the submarine. And just then, there is a fire in the submarine, and which is about to damage this complete submarine. So they shut off its nuclear reactor, because if the fire reaches the nuclear reactor, it's going to be catastrophic. And with that, again, Alistair Maclean describes this particular effort in a big manner, in a beautiful manner, and with a lot of difficulty, the crew is able to extinguish the fire and get the submarine back into action, in which Swanson's ingenuity is remarkable. After this, by now, what we have understood is there was a fire, and the submarine approaches there, and the submarine rescues the people who are alive and get them onto the submarine. And now, from here on, we are going to see that what was the mission. So far, the mission is partially known, partially not known. Carpenter calls for a meeting of the survivors and announces that the fire was no accident, which I have already told you earlier. He reveals that now Dr. Carpenter reveals his actual self, that who he is, and he says that I am a MI6 British intelligence officer, and that his real mission was to retrieve a photographic film from a military satellite that has photographed every missile base of the US. The film had been ejected from the satellite and had been ejected from the satellite so that the Soviet agents operating undercover could retrieve it. And his brother, Carpenter's brother, was sent for this mission as a commander, only to stop that attempt of the Soviets. So Carpenter reveals that this was the mission and why his brother was sent, and he, since his brother is dead, so he retrieves the particular photographic film, and he also during his investigation finds out that in Ice Station Zebra, who were the Russian agents. And so he, while discussing with all these people who are injured, declares the names of the Russian agents. And the book gets over with that. But I must once again tell you that this is a very interesting book, and it is full of action. And you know, writing action is extremely difficult, and with that too, for such a technical kind of a book where you have submarine and you have US and you have the British and you have the Soviets. So you need to give a perspective of the technology. You have to give perspective of many other factors of the environment, and in all of this book is extremely interesting. So friends, if you've liked this program of ours, kindly share it, kindly also subscribe to our channel. Soon we'll be coming out with another book. Till then, goodbye.